thank everybody for coming. We just wanted to kind of have this little impromptu chat about this, and something that all four of us are extremely proud. I think people walk by and go, holy shit, Schecter's making amps. A lot of thought, a lot of care, a lot of love has gone into this, and it's something we've really wanted to do for a long time. And the chance to work with that gentleman on the end, Mr. James Brown, who's made some of the, what I consider some of the greatest rock amps of the past 20 years, and kind of some groundbreaking designs. To have a chance to work with him, and the gentleman in the middle there, Mr. Synyster Gates, long time, almost a decade relationship with Schecter. Over the past couple of years, we've talked about, he's talked about his desire to actually work on an amp, and the guy's involvement in this has been, he's been every step of the way. When, there's a conception in this industry that an artist will put their name on something, and that gentleman right there is his eyes and ears. He's had his foot up our ass from the beginning on it, and has been there. And this is, I hope we got something that he's proud of and that we're all proud of, and and I think the proof is going to be when you guys actually get to hear this thing. But it's an amazing, a versatile amp, and there it is. It's sitting behind us, and it's damn good looking too.
Yeah, it is.
So
he's inebriated. We can't play tonight.
So this is something we just kind of wanted you kind of toss around some questions. Think of this as a sports press conference, and why my Saints aren't in the playoffs. I got a million reasons, and I'm pissed. But on this, really, just some questions, about this, and we're going to point. And
Alan, you be the handler of questions, please. You be the handler of questions, so we're not just shouting. Okay.
I don't think a lot of companies want to give you the peek behind the curtain here, but you got the guys, you got the Wizard of Oz is here.
He's got a Kings. You have a Kings shirt on, there it is. And we're 0-3, and I hate it, but yeah, that was horrible. That ending was unacceptable. Overtime, forget it.
All right, so please early. Who's got first question?
The Kings jersey is going first. Got it.
No. First of all, just on the surface, why the name Hellwin? What made you want to call it the Hellwin?
It's an awesome question. I love that question. First and foremost, thanks everybody for coming. This is an insane turnout. This is one of the coolest days of my entire life. It really is. It's insane. Well, my middle name's Elwin, and I just thought it was pretty funny, so I did it. But actually, my cousin-in-law, really witty dude. We were out to dinner. We probably had about let's see, what are those things called? Manhattans. We probably had like 5 or 6 each. And I was trying to think of a name. I was trying to do like Jimmy Reverend throwbacks or whatever, and trying to get things trademarked as a bitch as well. And so I was just, after months and months and thinking of this shit, we were just drunk at dinner, and he's like, "What's your middle name?" And he passes me a piece of paper back, and it says Hellwin. I'm amped. And I just started cracking up. Of course, I was probably really fucking smashed, but it was like, that has to be it. That has to be it. So it's a true story.
All right, next question.
Yep.
Right there.
I wanted a combination of a lot of my favorite amps that I played over time. For copyright reasons, I'm not going to say which ones they are. But just playability was a huge thing to me. I probably shouldn't admit this, but I'm not very particular about sound so much, although that I am. The biggest thing,
don't say that.
The biggest thing was playability to me, and then the sound came second. Which I'm not saying it doesn't have an insane sound, because that was one of the amazing things that came out of that. But we sat there and I just played. I played this one horseshit scale. It's probably not even a scale. Just as fast as I could, because we were trying to suss out this little issue, and it just had to play.
6 hours.
Yeah, it was brutal. So 6 hours later,
It was awesome.
we got it dialed in, and it plays beautifully. And then once I took a step back from that, I realized, holy shit, this thing sounds amazing. So,
I think he played that riff extremely fast and over, and it was so loud. I think I walked back in, and he goes, "Do you hear that?" And I went, "I don't hear anything anymore."
I actually still wake up hearing that in the middle of the night, that same riff in my sleep. So,
It's an ugly riff.
But
Next question.
I think it was something. There was a feel thing. It was tonal, but also this push in the way the pick and everything of Syn's style. That it's like he kept going saying, "I wanted to feel something on the amp," and they tinkered. And
But the thing was that we've been playing guitar our whole lives too, and these two nuts over here actually heard it. He's going, "Do you guys hear it? Do you guys hear it?" And we're going, "Absolutely not. I don't know what the hell you're talking about." But these two guys hear it, and they're messing with stuff, and they worked on it, and I kid you not, for 6 hours until they got it right. And I just thought that was a testament to both of them in their passion about James creating amp and Brian creating his amp. I thought that was just so important. And I walked out of the room because I couldn't take hearing it anymore. And it was just like, I got enough of that. And they were there. So I thought that was really cool that they heard it and they made it right.
well, you know, a lot of people have probably noticed before how when you're playing through an amp, sometimes you can't tell by how it sounds. You have to play it yourself, so that you can feel how the notes respond, especially like the attack of the notes. That was one of the things that we spent a lot of time on. And I've always had to do a lot of dialing in on amps to make that feel. You can go too far with the tightness and then it sounds thin and upper mid-rangey, or you go the other way and now it's flopping. It sounds like, you're playing through a MIDI guitar or something like that instead of the touch sensitivity that you're looking for. So we spent a lot of time working on that, and that riff happened to be a good way for him to feel the attack and tell whether I was getting close or not. So we did spend a lot of time dialing on that, on the feel issue.
All right, next. Paul, up, prepare guitar roll.
Well, probably one of the coolest things is, to me, building amps is a little bit like people create music. The music scene doesn't change all of a sudden to something else. There's always these incremental changes that happen. And so for me, I've noticed the same thing. Whenever I design an amp, I always try to make what I did last year sound bad. It's kind of my philosophy. And so in this case, what I did is I looked. The last amp I did at Custom was a double cross. That had a particular feel to it, and it had some pretty cool things about the tone structure and also the EQ and stuff. He was really into some other EQ curves. We tried some different variations on that. I've found over the years I've made some various changes in the preamp to try to make the gain structure feel a little bit more natural. So when you play chords, you can hear all the notes. So it's kind of like an evolution. It's hard to say. People want you to say, well, what does it sound like? Well, it just sounds awesome. I don't know. I don't do a whole lot of comparing old things as much as I do kind of trying to keep pushing forward with these things. And that's what we were shooting for, is just to keep pushing forward and to get his tone, but also to have something that had a lot of variety of tones you could get out of it. It's great to have something that has one cool sound, and there's a lot of that in this building, things that have one good sound. We were really kind of focusing more on doing things that a lot of people can have a good sound out of it, So one of the things that turned out pretty cool is this focus knob. This was something Michael came up with, is to try to come up with a way to adjust the input of the amp so it reacts more like appropriately for a 7-string or an 8-string or a regular guitar. That's something that kind of came out of that whole process as well. And that's kind of loosely based on the tight control that I did on my amp tweaker pedals. So,
definitely in this. I'm sorry, James.
That's all right.
A word that
said to me.
There's no time limit here. It's our time. A word that's always was out of Syn's mouth on this was versatility. He wanted to get his sound, but he likes other styles of music. He wanted it, again, to be an amp that a lot of players could plug into. I mean, we've got a lot of, since we've had it back at the shop, we've been able to run a lot of different guitars through it, and I think we got the clean sound that he wanted. It's very like driving a Bassman, and I mean it does the Angus Young chunk real well and everything. So I think this is far more than just a signature, even though it says Synyster Gates signature design. It's that and so much more, and that's something that he made very clear. Yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch I can't figure out yet, but no, it really does a lot of things, and I think the way James put it, there are a lot of one-trick ponies, and I mean the focus control. I mean, Avenge does a lot of things that are sub 440, and having that control, that different tunings, it works. And I think to me, it's always a test is when you turn a knob, it actually does something, and all those knobs actually do lots of things.
Who else has questions? Paul Riario.
I think.
Yeah, I've always wanted to make an amp, ever since I was a child, but they wanted to do something and expand, and I mean, they love everything about music. They're passionate about everything about music. This was a natural step for them. So they came to me first about it, and so I'll let them expound.
No, it kind of happened. We're at the same time. We had been talking about it for a few years. It takes a long time to really find out where you want it to be. But I think we had been talking in passing, and I had said, we're working on this design, and he's all of a sudden I could tell his ears just went, kind of. And I think about 3 months later, we were out with James working on the amp. And so it kind of happened really fast from going. I was kind of almost shocked at how excited he was and how much input he had in it, and we went right to it. We flew out and made it happen, and we're here. And it's literally 8 months. We just made it happen, but it was just perfect timing, I think.
I mean, it's very, it had a lot of synergy in it. I mean, because Schecter's grown, we got hit by a lot of amp manufacturers going, hey, you guys should do an amp. And we've even had some send us amps, and it's, the temptation's always there to slap your name on it and go, wow, here's a Schecter modeling amp, or here's a 199, and it didn't feel right. And when the opportunity arose to actually work with James, it was like, okay, this is it, because I grew up playing the PV Classic amps that man designed, and it's like once we had that opportunity and we spoke with Syn, it just kind of all came together. I think it was like the timing was right to do it. The band was off the road. Usually where bands will start looking at gear, getting ready to go in the studio, looking, starting to think about the sound for the next record, and it just all happened at once, and it's it was an amazing process to be part of.
Stone King. How are you doing today? First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, looks great. Is this the first stamp with more to come? What does the
Yes.
landscape look like?
Yeah, it definitely is. I play a lot of different styles of music. Most of them I play very badly. That doesn't mean I don't love them. So I just want to do something that can, handle all of those things. But what I want to start off with was something that I think the kids that listen to Avenged Sevenfold would pretty much, be able to gravitate to, and probably want to play something like that first rather than an old polytone design jazz amp. So I went for this guy. This is just exactly what I look for in rock, metal. It's got insane cleans. Probably my favorite thing about this amp are its cleans. It's got 2 different types, UK and American versions and stuff. It's unreal. So I want to start with the kind of the broad spectrum of everything that's going on without having too many bells and whistles. It still hones in as just an amp with balls, at its core. But you can definitely do more with it. It's universally played or whatever. So long story long, yes, there will be more.
when he walked in, the first thing he looked and goes, "So when do I get a combo version of this too?" So if we do, the plans are there. Hellwin will be a lot of different products, combos. We definitely are talking a 1, 2, 3 year plan, and probably after this we're going to be talking more about it. But not enough bells and whistles. Where else? I can't see how another bell or whistle is going to going to fit on that. There's a space right there.
It looks great. Congratulations.
This amp is MIDI controllable too. That was, call attention. That was something that he wanted for his live use, to be able to switch to channels and various things like that. So that was also on his must-have list, and it's
kids need to have, I don't think they're going to need the MIDI function, but I don't think they really needed the Sustainiac when I first started playing that, but they got pissed when the guitar didn't have it, and I totally understand. If it's something that I'm going to play, then I think kids should have access to that. And so it's an important thing, whether they use it or just take a leak on that portion of the amp or whatever they want to do.
It's the next product.
It's there.
You may like. They may hate. We're gonna dig it.
Exactly.
So we'll give them what they want first.
Exactly. They'll definitely hate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Synyster, last time you were telling me about the recording process, how you combine amplifiers, like a Wagner with a Marshall, to get one sound.
Yeah.
Does this amp kind of brings that idea together to just use one amp to get the sound that you're looking for?
It's a great question. We'll have to see. You never know what's going to transpire, but I know by playability that I'll 99.99% guarantee that I'll be doing all the lead work on it. And then, with all the thing is, you can just really hone this in to get an insane rhythm kind of tone and tightness, playability. So I would probably give it, a pretty high grade when it comes into the studio for its capabilities of being able to do all that stuff, But you never know. You use everything for everything in the studio. It's all like it's all behind the scenes kind of craziness,
Heat of the moment.
Yeah, heat of the moment, exactly.
I mean, when we were voicing this, we had a lot of his favorite amps, and and when after those two down there tinkered, and we came and went, and came back, and they go, and I think we got it where Sin really likes it, and we we heard the other amps, the 3 or 4 things that were sitting there, and they're big names, and it was like holy shit, let's see it, if this is going to stand to it, and when he played through it and it pushed in the tone and the tightness, it was like, not only we're on par, it's like we felt like we bettered it, and staring at those amps and actually having that feeling was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. When you have a guy like this and then you just bring in all of your favorite stuff, boutique, and you just pick it apart. This is what I like, this is what I don't like. Can we do this? You have a guy like this that can go in there and actually do it. I don't know if anybody's going to like this amp besides me, but it just fucking smokes anything else. It just does. Yes, sir.
What's this going to bring to your live sound that may have not been there before?
What's that? Pardon me?
What's this going to bring to your live sound that hasn't been there before? I've covered you guys many times. You always sound great, but
Thank you.
what kind of step up is that going to be for you live?
I probably should say distortion's way better, but I can't do that. It's going to be, obviously, that's cool, it's dialed in, it's great, but this has clean channels that a rock metal amp just
Don't have.
they just don't. Yeah, I don't think they could. There's a lot of talented companies. Maybe they just didn't give the time and energy or care. We went pretty hardcore about getting great clean tones on this one, and that's a huge thing for me. And so definitely you're going to hear a difference, with the cleans for sure.
I think it's a more versatile amp than anybody will probably give it credit for right out of the gate, and that's just because it's a Schecter or because it has his name on it. But I think once everybody gets over that hump, they'll realize that it, like you said, it'll do a lot more. It'll appeal to a lot of people, and I agree with him. The clean, as soon as I plug into the clean channel, it's amazing. Sometimes I'll forget to go over there for a while because it's just got a great sound, and I agree. I think that's going to be a really cool step for him.
We'll put a 335 and arch top through this guy, and it's going to fucking sound insane. Awesome.
James also had a really great circuitry for a direct out. So this amp has an XLR direct out, and it was sort of an afterthought. And when Brian had stepped out of the room, James started talking to us about it, and it was on the initial prototype that we had been working on. And it at first it didn't seem like Brian, like Sim was like, I don't know if I'll even have use for it. But then when he actually heard it and heard the cabinet simulator and stuff like that, it clicked to him that, wow, this, for a live sound, when we're in a big place, having my sound guy or my monitor guy also to have this, to be able to blend, we're outdoors, Red Rocks, wherever, that, to have that extra oomph off the back of, coming straight off the amp to blend in with the cabinets or the ISO cabs or whatever he's using, I think was actually a cool feature that he went, oh, shit, yeah, let's put that on there. I could actually use that. So I think that'll be something that he hasn't had in the past.
Yeah, that direct out circuit, the way that works is instead of trying to sound like a 57 right in the speaker, I took a studio mic and I set it where your head would be if you were standing next to the cabinet playing it, which is where we all like the sound. Nobody wants to put their head in a speaker. So by doing that and moving it around to get the phase just right, you end up with a sound that sounds more like you're standing there next to the amp, and that's what's coming out of the PA.
That's nuts. It sounds insane.
So.
Next. What tools did you use, power tools, speakers, things of that nature, and what do you think the street price is going to be on?
James, can I say the first half?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the second half. I do the tubes, you do the money.
We do the money, you do the tubes. Tech guy.
The power amp uses EL34s, and the preamp has various 12AX7s that we've been trying different ones until we had the particular voicing that we were looking for in the preamp. But even though the power amp will be shipping with EL34s, it has a 6L6 switch on the bias system, so you can swap those out. If you hire a qualified technician to do that for you.
We don't cover that.
It's very portable.
You can give them.
As far as the street price, I think. Thank God I don't have to do the sales portion of this anymore. Our goal has always been to have this all-American made amp in the mid-twos in stores, And I think we hit that.
You're going to hit the $2,400 range.
And we're not talking a lot about the cabinets, but that was also a big thing with Brian. We went with vintage 30s. We had a couple cabinets and even the prototypes of these with the 70 or 75-30 combinations and stuff. And he had experience with a few different ones in the studio. And these cabinets, full birch construction, sound amazing. And I think a lot of people maybe don't realize how important a speaker cabinet is. I've had some events bringing a great sounding amp and being lazy and using the house backline with some unnamed speaker cabinets and going, what happened to the tone? These cabinets sound great, weigh a lot.